Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is part 2 of 5, where I'm going to show you my top 50 books in my collection just by price. These are the biggest books in my collection by price. And these are books that are all above about $2,500 in this section. So about from $2,600 actually to $3,500 in this set of books. And they're pretty cool books, actually. It's a pretty cool list, this one. Now, I want to do a couple shout outs just before I get into showing you my books. To other channels, I'm kind of trying to tag channels as I do these videos, sort of keep the shout outs going and keep other people active and maybe engaged in doing these videos. So the two channels I'd like to shout out are Night Tiger Comics and Jerry the Jitterbug. They both have really great Golden Age collections, and I thought, well, I'd love to see what their top 50 most expensive books would be. So if they are interested, if they're watching this, maybe do a video. I'd love to see it. I think other people would love to see it too. So yeah, so I'd love to see your top 50 most valuable books in your collections. So let's get into my next top 50 books, which is numbers 40 to 31. Okay, so this is my 40th most expensive book. This is Batman 47, and it is the first, well, it's not the first, but it is the origin retold of Batman. It's more of a, it's the detailed version of the story of how Batman became Batman. It is also the time where you see the Batmobile, the Bat signal, and the Bat plane all on the cover. So another cool little thing about this one, it's actually from 1948. It's a Bill Finger story, and it's a Bob Kane and Charles Paris cover. So just a really great one. And that's, now I've been trying to tell the prices of these books as I've been going along as well, so that people can kind of have a sense of the value. So this one, I got it from one of my viewers that watched, and I bought a few books from him. At the time, it sort of went up to around $2,800 during COVID peak. But it's since dipped in price. Now it's going for around $2,640. That's the last kind of known price for a 4.0 of Batman 47. So it's dipped a little bit, but even Golden Age books can go down. So this one has dipped a little bit. The next book in my list is Captain Marvel Comics, number 18. And this is the first appearance of Mary Marvel, girl right in the middle. It's a nice airbrush cover by CC Beck, I believe. And it's the origin and first appearance of Mary Marvel and Marvel Family, painted cover, Fawcett comic cards on the back. Now that's actually a big thing that it notes, is Fawcett comic cards on the back. So you're probably wondering, what are Fawcett comic cards? Well, on the back of these books would be these cards, okay? And these cards are pretty cool. You know, they'd be like little postcards. See Captain Marvel Jr. and Bullet Girl. And a lot of the time, if you find copies of this book, a lot of the time these cards are cut out. So it's actually quite challenging to find a complete copy of this book. So this is Captain Marvel Comics number, Captain Marvel Adventures number 18 from 1942. And yeah, great CC Beck cover. Now, this one is interesting because it's also dipped. Back in during the COVID peak, it got up to about $2,900. It's since dipped since then because of the movies come out, you know, all the excitement around Mary Marvel has kind of waned a little bit, and it's dipped down to $2,700. Still a valuable book, but not quite as valuable as during the peak COVID era. But still a great book. I'm super excited to have it in my collection. Just love that book. Okay, the next one, and I feel like I've shown this recently, is Zip Comics number 35. Now this is the first appearance of Ginger Snap. She's a character, kind of a good girl art character for Archie. And this is also a great Nazi punching cover. It's just like, you want to have a great Nazi punching cover, well, this is the one. And it's MLJ, which later became Archie, from 1943. And it's Sam Cooper art, has Sam Cooper art and Bob Montana cover. So Bob Montana is very famous for Archie 50, which is kind of his masterpiece, good girl art cover, but he also did this cover, so Bob Montana. Now this one also, you know, this one sort of stayed the same. It hasn't really gone up since I bought it. I paid $2,900 for this, and it's still worth $2,900. So just a great book, quite rare as well. Not that many on the census. So Zip Comics number 35. And I'll show you the back as well. Uncle Sam on the back, pawning some junk. I don't know what he's pawning, but it's a whole bunch of weird stuff. Hurry, hurry, get your prize. Send American seeds for Victory Gardens. So that's interesting. So yeah. That's stuff they would do for the war effort. Okay, so next one is one that I actually just recently added to my collection. And so this is new to my top 50 list. This is Worlds of Fear number 10. And it's a kind of a lower grade, but these precode horror books have really been going crazy lately. This is from Fawcett Publications, so the same as the Mary Marvel. And it's a painted cover, classic cover, with all these eyeballs, and the guy in the middle, like, just he's not having any eyes. He's like just empty eye sockets. And it's Norm Saunders cover. So Norm Saunders, he did a lot of these kind of painted covers, and they're just really phenomenal stuff. Worlds of Fear had mostly his covers, just really great ones, and really just awesome precode horror cover. This is like a classic cover. And as such, precode horror being super hot, this one goes for around $3,000. So pretty expensive book. And you can build airplanes on the back. So that's always good. So this one goes for about $3,000. So usually you can use kind of the per point method. This goes for, I think it's around $1,250 for per point, somewhere around there. It's like, 3,000 divided by 2.5, which is the grade. So it kind of gives you a rough estimate of what the per point grade would be. So around $1,200 actually per point, if you do the math. And seeing it in high grade is actually quite rare. They're quite hard to find. Next one. This is more of a common book, actually. This next one is, and it's barely Golden Age. It's kind of like one of those, I wouldn't call it Golden Age. It's kind of early Silver Age. And it is Detective Comics 225, I should say, 225. And this is the first appearance of Martian Manhunter. Just a great one. You got Robin and a bunch of these people dressed up like Batman, and yeah, just a really great cover. And this one is from 1955, November 1955. Now, you'll notice that the code is quite large on it. It's a huge code. And a lot of the 1955 issues, 1955 and 1956 issues of comics would have much larger stamps. And that was just because they were new to comics, and they really wanted to show that they were approved for readers. This was their way of trying to appease the American public to make sure that comics were not banned outright. So this is a Win Mortimer cover, and it is the origin and first appearance of John Jones, Martian Manhunter. So yeah, just a great one. And this one goes for around, it was actually up, I think around the Snyder Cut during COVID. It had gone up to $3,500, but it's since dipped as well. So a lot of these books are down. This one's dipped to $3,025. So it's dipped a little bit, down about 15% from its peak. But yeah, these books will recover. I'm not too worried, but it is kind of sad to see them going down a little bit. Okay, this next book on the list is a modern book, more modern, I should say. It's like it would be considered Copper Age. This is Raphael, number 1. It's a one-shot, actually. And you got Raphael right there. And this guy. Who is this guy, though? Well, this guy, this is his first appearance. This is Casey Jones. Casey Jones, this is his first appearance on the cover and first appearance in comics. So it's a first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles spin-off, first appearance of Casey Jones. And it is a Kevin Eastman cover from Mirage Studios 1985. And it's in really high grade. So that's why it's on the list. This book had actually gone really crazy during COVID. I mean, I think you could pick this up in a mid-grade for around $100 before COVID. And a lot of the turtle books had just, even before COVID, just maybe in 2020, 2021, that kind of era, they had just sort of spiked before every other book went crazy during the COVID era. So these books had just gone skyrocket. Like I saw the price go from around $100 to around $400 during COVID. Just crazy prices. This one actually had gone up to like $5,000 or something insane. But now has definitely fallen off of that peak, and it's back to around $3,100. So it's still a great book, and it is a really great cover. It's a wraparound cover, and you get this cool back cover where Casey Jones has his signature hockey stick, and he's got an umbrella that he's using to slow his fall as he's jumping down onto probably members of the Foot Clan or something like that, or some bad guys. So just a really cool Turtles book, very iconic one. Casey Jones was a character I really liked from the Turtles movie, and the original Turtles movie, I should say. So yeah, just a cool book. I was excited to get it in that high grade. I like 9/8. If you see my collection, you probably think, well, does he have any 9/8? But I actually do like high grade books. I just don't have many of them because usually I can't afford them. So especially if they're Golden Age. So yeah, but that's just a cool book. Next book, which is another cool one, and this one's actually interesting because I had actually a choice that I could have made with this one, and I actually chose the cheaper. Not cheaper, same price actually, but I chose the one that I thought presented better. I'll show you this book, and I chose the one that probably is less valuable. So you think, why would he pick the less valuable copy of a book? Well, I'll show you why. Okay, so this is Brenda Star number 14. It's a conserved grade, and so it still has the blue label. And a lot of people get deceived by this, but it has the blue label. It's conserved, which means that it doesn't go for as much as a 5.0 full blue label. Conserved just means that things were done to it to protect it, to make it so that it will last. Now this is a Jack Kamen cover, and the conservation includes cover reinforced, cover cleaned. So very minor stuff, but often what they'll do is they'll use things to kind of like material to basically enhance the cover so that it will be stronger and have more structural integrity. This is just a classic bondage cover. So the point is, why did I choose this one? I had a choice of this one or I think it was a 4.0 or 4.5 copy. That was a blue label, and they were both the same price. I chose this one because of her dress. It sounds weird, but usually this one, I don't know why, but if you see many copies of this book, they're usually faded out. Her dress is usually, instead of being a dark green like this, it's usually a much more yellowy color, which is weird. So I chose this one because the colors on it were really, really sharp, and I wanted that high quality cover. So I was willing to pay for it. So maybe, you can tell me in the comments below if you think I made a good choice buying the cover that presents better, but a grade which is conserved rather than a blue label. And generally, conserved grades go for about 50 to 60% of what a blue label would go for. They're pretty harsh on the values. So this one, I got it for $3,100, and that's probably what it's worth today, is $3,100. So about $600 a point for a conserved grade. But would have been about $1,000 a point if it was not conserved. So just a cool book, though. And it's considered to be a classic cover. You got this girl in bondage. Her dress is like torn, so some nasty things happen to this girl. She's tapping out using like a horseshoe. It looks like a horseshoe. SOS on the radiator, and she's like in bondage. Just a great cover. Like kind of one of those ones that is considered to be a classic bondage cover. So Brenda Starr, and this is from 1948. I'll show you the back as well. Has wallets on the back. I don't know why. But yeah, just a great cover. Jack Kamen. This is like considered one of his more desirable covers. You'll see more Jack Kamen later on the list as well. Next on the list is another really classic cover, and this one I'm not sure who did it. It's a cover where the artist is not known, but it is a great cover. This is Underworld Crime number 7, and it's just whoever did this did an amazing job. You get the guy, he's holding like a hot poker, and the poker is like illuminating everybody's faces. It's illuminating her face in this almost like frozen scream, and you got the criminal's face illuminated by it, even his hand, the way it's illuminated. And you see the woman is in bondage. Her man, I think it would be her boyfriend or somebody connected to her, is in the back corner up here, right there. And he's in bondage. And then you get this weird guy. It almost looks like he has iron hands. His hands look like metal almost. It's very strange. Holding her hair as they're about to torture her with a hot poker. Just a crazy cover. Has elements of horror, but it is a crime book. And this is a bondage and torture cover, last issue. And it's Underworld Crime from Fawcett. This is the same people that produced Mary Marvel. So kind of crazy. You wouldn't expect that. But this is a 3.0. So this one generally goes for about $1,000 a point, a little bit more. And this is worth around $3,240. Okay, so next on the list, getting to the last two. This one is one that I really wanted. And the funny thing is, I have a bit of a funny story about this one. I really, really wanted it. And it's a really rare book. I think like 10 on the census. Super rare book. But is one that was mentioned in the Seduction of the Innocent. And it was mentioned not just in the text of the Seduction of the Innocent. it was mentioned within the lithographs that they put within the Seduction of the Innocent, these pictures where they show different books that were even more worthy of being in the Seduction of the Innocent, where these are the ones that were having the most detrimental effect on kids. Well, this one was in the lithographs for even more special reason, and I'll show it to you. This is Crime Detective Comics number 9. This is 9.2, which is actually the highest graded copy of this book. And it is one from the Promise collection. Yeah, used in SOTI, caricature of Frederick Wortham on the cover. So see this right here? That is supposed to be Frederick Wortham, who wrote The Seduction of the Innocent. And it says psychiatrist, which Frederick Wortham was a psychiatrist. And he worked with children, and he saw that the children were reading comics, and he kind of put the two together, that these disturbed children read comics, and therefore comics were the source of their disturbances and why they were juvenile delinquents. And you got a note, and I'm going to read the note on the cover saying, "This magazine is dedicated to the prevention of crime. We hope that within its pages, the youth of America will learn to know crime for what it really is: sad, black, dead-end road of..." One sec here. It's kind of cut off, so it's a little hard to read. Something. Yeah, I'll show it to you. See, yeah, it's like cut off. It's hard to read. It's impossible to read. I wish I knew what it said. We'll never know. So yeah. So basically, they wrote a note to Frederick Wortham, and it's actually funny. Dr. M. Brown, psychiatrist. So, but it is definitely Frederick Wortham. They have him bound and gagged. Because even before he wrote The Seduction of the Innocent, Frederick Wortham was a very powerful advocate against comics and against the material inside comics. He really wanted it to be more restricted and kept away from young children. Yeah, and this has actually got an interesting element to it as well. See the star right here? This is actually an early version of the Comic Code Authority. So this book was actually approved by this early code. That's another cool feature about this book. But as I was saying, this is also a book from the Promise collection. Now, if you're not familiar with these gold labels, well, the gold label just means that it is from a collection of comics from one source. Where in the case of the Promise collection, it was these two boys that had been drafted to go to Korea, and one of the two brothers basically had a great comic collection, and he said, "Hey, if anything should happen to me, I want you to promise me that you'll take care of my collection of funny books," basically. And so they went off to war, and in fact, the boy did die. And his brother basically said, "Okay, I'll keep these collections of comics," and he kept them in really pristine collection grades, like just really kept them well. I mean, you can see 9.2. It's really, and it's white pages, so that's unheard of, right? And he basically kept the books really, really pristine, and he eventually died, and then the books got sold as a collection and all graded, and Heritage basically brought these books to auction, and they had a massive sale. Actually, they were going for like 3 to 4 times the normal prices for graded comics of the same books. That pedigree really brought high prices because there was so much hype around it. Now this is Dan Zolnovich and Herb Rugoff cover. And yeah, so it's just a really great book. Love this one. I paid up for it though. I had to pay up. This one I paid $3,360, and since there's been no sale since, well, I say that that's the value. So $3,360. So really scarce book. The funny thing was afterwards, I found a copy on eBay, really beat up copy, and I paid $14 for it. But I ended up trading it and getting like a couple $100 worth of trade from it because it's quite a hard book to find. As I said, there's less than 10 on the census. Okay, last book in this top 10 or top 40, I guess, comics in my collection is this one, Miss America #2. So this is a rare comic and also a raw comic. I didn't get it graded. I bought it raw, and it's quite a hard book to find. And it's a major key. It is the first appearance of Patsy Walker, who later becomes Hellcat. Just a major Marvel character. And this is Miss America on the cover. Actually, it's not Hellcat, or it's not Patsy Walker, but this does include Patsy Walker's first story. And this one's actually in reasonable condition. It's got a little bit of staining. It could use definitely a clean and press, but it is, reasonable condition. So this one goes for about $3,500. Now, this one doesn't have an artist associated to the cover. It is actually, it was a young girl, I think she was 15 at the time, that posed for this, and she later became a librarian, but she did some cosplay and got her picture taken as Miss America. So just a kind of cool book, and it is just a early Marvel female superhero book. I forget what year this is from. I believe like I want to say like early 40s. So yeah, just a really great book. And that's it. That's my top 40 to 31 books on my collection. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the books that I showed. Some you just don't see very often. If you want to participate, you don't have to be shouted out. You can participate and show your top 50 books in your collection. Just tag me on it, and I'll check it out. Yeah, and I hope again you enjoyed this collection. Stay tuned for 3 more parts where we get into my bigger books. Again, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye for now.